Good afternoon. Thank you for watching our Westminster Canterbury Weekly for Thursday, August 5th. Today, I'll provide you with a couple updates, and then I'm going to be very pleased to introduce you to Jason Collins, our new Vice President of Facilities Management. After Jason, CFO Russell Gardner will share with you the details of our 2022 operating and capital budgets, which were recently approved by our Board of Directors. Tom Henning has a facilities and construction update, and Kemp has some comments about security and protecting ourselves from fraud. And lastly, Vanessa has our pastoral care segment today. Start out, talk about COVID a little bit. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, provides us with a positivity rate. It's a 2-week positivity rate. It's a look-back period that they report. It's a little different than if you look at the Virginia Department of Health's website because it's a longer period and it's a bigger look back. But that's what determines how frequently we have to test staff and residents in our Parsons Health Center. And so currently that report for the CMS data for Henrico County has our positivity rate at 7.4% and climbing. It's climbing pretty steep. You're probably seeing that on the news. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Richmond area's level of community transmission is considered high right now. As you know, because of this, last week we at Westminster Canterbury Richmond began requiring masks indoor again for all of our visitors, our employees, and our contractors. We're not requiring residents to wear masks indoors. We're leaving that up to you and your choice, but we do highly recommend that you practice wearing a mask indoors when you're around others, especially others who might not be vaccinated or anyone who's traveled or been away from campus. It's just a good practice. As a reminder to all of us, masks are required for everyone, residents, staff, everyone. If we enter into one of the healthcare settings on campus, including the clinic reception desk, waiting area, into the clinic, Parsons Health Center, and any of the areas in assisted living. Our region is seeing a number of breakthrough cases of COVID in fully vaccinated individuals. I was on a call yesterday with a number of other facilities from around the Commonwealth, and many facilities are having breakthrough COVID cases in their staff, and we know of at least one long-term care setting that's has had a breakthrough outbreak. So it is a real threat, and we need to take it seriously. Currently, there are 4 Westminster Canterbury employees who are fully vaccinated and have tested positive for COVID-19 in the past week. It's clearly impacting us, and it's also impacting other communities around. Thankfully, here at Westminster Canterbury, all of the employees who've tested positive did not expose any residents or other employees because mostly they became symptomatic after being exposed to unvaccinated children or family members and or returning from travel and didn't come back to work. They came back, got tested positive, and never worked a shift. So all are recovering at home in quarantine, and we're going to continue to monitor this situation very closely in our community here at Westminster Canterbury, and we'll be watching what happens in the broader community. At this time, we are not making any changes to our policies that affect residents or resident programs. We'll continue to hold activities. We're going to keep dining open. We're going to continue to invite visitors into our community. And I think on the 16th, visitors will be welcome in our dining areas. So that we're continuing down that path, and we're hopeful that we can maintain that. Out of an abundance of caution and to protect everyone, both residents, staff, and guests, we are asking our employees who travel to get tested, a rapid test when they return. And that travel can just be away from home for the day. I mean, if one of our staff members goes to a music event or goes to Busch Gardens or to Virginia Beach for the day, when they come back, before they start their first shift, we want to do a rapid test on them. Or if they go away on vacation and spend time, we're going to also test them. They don't need to quarantine, and they don't need a PCR test. We're just going to do a rapid unless they're symptomatic. If they come back and they've either had a known exposure to someone who tested positive or they have any symptoms, then we'll do a full-blown PCR test. We'll keep them out of work a couple days until we get a negative. But if they don't have any symptoms and they don't think they were exposed, we're gonna do a rapid test just to be sure. If, and it's, we're gonna, before I get to the next thing, we are continuing to work towards a September 1 deadline for all of our employees to be fully vaccinated so that we can provide full protection to this community. And that's a really important thing. This call I was on yesterday was with a number of communities from all over the Commonwealth, and there were 3 communities, ours, a community in Hampton Roads, and another community here in Richmond that have all made the decision to go ahead with vaccination being mandatory. There's a good number, many of the other CCRCs around Virginia are headed in that direction, but haven't actually established that formal decision yet. We made the decision, September 1 is the deadline for employees to get vaccinated, and we're making good progress towards that. Really encouraged with what we're seeing, so that's good news. If the conditions out in the broader community change, or we get guidance from Virginia Department of Health or CMS that our policies need to change, we will update you here on our weekly, Westminster Canterbury Weekly, so keep watching. We'll also post any changes to Touchdown. We'll put them on the boards, and we'll let you know directly by memo if we need to. So keep paying attention to all the sources of that news, and keep doing the right thing, and hopefully we won't need to make any changes to our policies and procedures. Now for a couple quick comments about vibrancy and our other construction projects. We have updates on the promenade renovation and expansion, promenade renovation and expansion, and the new parking deck. Over the next 2 weeks, you're going to begin to see much more activity as construction begins, both in promenade and for the parking deck. On Monday, August 9th, which is next Monday, on the ellipse, the construction fencing is going to get closed in, and you'll no longer be able to go out there and walk around the full ellipse circle on the ellipse. The fencing is closing to prepare for additional work and the promenade initial demolition. That work's going to start late next week, or soon thereafter, and a couple more construction barriers are going to be going up. You're still going to be able to access portions of the ellipse via the double doors outside the information center near the marketplace. The Rice Assembly doors will also be a point of egress for you, and then stairwell 2 at the northwest end of the tower. You can get out that door to go out to the ellipse. On Friday, August 13th, construction barriers for the parking deck project will be delivered, and they'll begin to set those up so that on Monday, August 16th, the Parsons Health Center lot will close to all staff and visitors. And what that means is that staff will now be parking in the employees' parking lot by the Cochrane Pond and the new temporary lot, which has been built right next to it. Visitors who would normally park in the Parsons Health Center lot will be able to park in the Avalon parking lot and in visitor spaces that have been marked in what is today the employee parking lot by the pond. The Parsons Health Center, the Child Development Center, the Gables and Monticello entrances will all remain open, so folks can get into the building through those doors, but that parking lot will close and be blocked off. Employees are receiving additional information so that they'll get more clarity on how to park, where to park, how to get from the new parking lot into the building, and that sort of thing. Visitors to campus will be provided a map that details these changes when they come through the gate. And then also, you probably have noticed, if you've been around to the back of the property, that the roadway is being cut in that provides access from Dunbarton Road on the new land that we purchased That road is being connected into Westminster Canterbury Way. That work is happening now, and that will be the road that gets used exclusively for construction traffic. So the intent is to bring all of our construction traffic and equipment and deliveries in off the back from Dumbarton, keep that traffic off of the front of the campus, and minimize the impact as much as we can. It's exciting to see this progress, but I also know it generates a lot of questions and concerns. So please watch our updates, watch for updates on the bulletin boards, in the tower lobby, look at the slides on TV 971, check the Touchdown app under the Vibrancy tab. Keep watching this, and we'll continue to share more information as these two elements of the project get moving here over the next few weeks. Lastly, for me, a quick note about tonight's theater performance. We hope that you will continue to enjoy all of our cultural arts programs that the team worked so hard to make available to you. I want to remind you that there is a performance here in the Sarah Bell November Theater tonight. Jeff Allen is regarded as one of the premier clean comedians working today. Many stated that Jeff was a breath of fresh air in these challenging times, and definitely laughter is going to be the best medicine. So come tonight and get a dose of medicine, and that would be great. Tickets are available at the tower and center desks. So I hope you can make that tonight. Now I'd like to invite Jason Collins out to introduce himself. He's our new Vice President of Facilities Management.
Hello, Westminster Canterbury residents. Give a little background about myself. I was born in northeastern Oklahoma and raised. Went to Oklahoma State University, where I graduated in fire protection engineering safety. But in 2000, I came here to Richmond, Virginia I worked in industry for my first 17 years after graduating from college. In 2000, I came here to work at Honeywell down on the river in Hopewell, and fell in love with the Richmond community. Met my wife here, married to her in 2005, and been married now for 15 wonderful years. We have 4 lovely children, and we live in Western Henrico. I'm a strong participation and member of my Emmanuel Baptist Church down near Monument and Thompson. Believe strongly in my faith and my family. Do a lot in the community. Participate in my children's Little League. I'm a coach and heavily involved out there. Takes up a lot of my time in the spring. And I worked for 17 years in industry, decided to move over into healthcare. That's when I started in 2013 at Bon Secours St. Mary's Hospital. And I really developed a passion for serving the patients there, and just had a wonderful 8 years. Saw this opportunity, was given the nod, came on board. Really was a great time to come on board here with your Vibrancy project, and the next 3 years look to be very exciting. And I'm so happy to be part of this team with the housekeeping crews, the engineering team that I'll be leading, and to serve the residents here for many, Lord willing, many great years to come. And I'm so excited because I think one advantage working here is in hospital you see the patient and then you don't get to see them again. But in this type of care environment, we're going to hopefully develop some long relationships with residents, which I cherish, which is one of my 3 pillars: faith, family, and friendships. So I know I'll be able to develop some great relationships with each of you, the residents, and my wonderful team. And I just want to thank you. It's been so warm and welcome. The welcome I've received has just been beyond belief, and I know I made the right choice coming here. Thank you.
When you have the opportunity to meet Jason around campus, please introduce yourself. We're eager to get him up to speed. We'll take some time. It's a big place. A lot of people he's got to get to know, a lot of programs. But he's off to a good start. We're excited to have him. So please welcome him when you have the opportunity. Next up, Russell Gardner.
Good afternoon. As John mentioned earlier, I want to take just a little while and talk about our fiscal year 22 operating and capital budgets. The Board of Trustees has approved the operating and capital budgets for fiscal year 2022, which begins October 1 of 2021, or this fall. We believe that the 22 financial plan keeps Westminster Canterbury well positioned for providing services to our current and future residents. Stewardship is always a primary consideration as we work through our business and financial planning for Westminster Canterbury. Westminster Canterbury's most significant inflationary pressure is increasing wages and personnel costs. Other areas with significant increased cost include our risk management, insurances, and maintenance cost. One of the larger proactive investments planned for the upcoming fiscal year is an increase in Westminster Canterbury's minimum pay rate to $15 per hour. Management, along with the Board of Trustees, approved this investment to improve our employee recruitment and our employee retention. In the next couple of weeks, Winley Gravitt, Vice President, will share the rollout and communications for this notable investment in our workforce. The 22 operating budget also demonstrates positive cash flow sufficient to cover our expenses and also to cover or provide funding for our routine capital plan. Monthly fees will increase 3.5% on October 1, 2021. Other fees have naturally progressed due to the related inflation. Later this month, the monthly fees will be published along with other fees for ancillary services such as transportation, salon services, and internet services. The capital plan for fiscal year 22 includes more than $11 million in investment for replacement, repairs, and infrastructure for the renewal of our facility. The capital plan also includes project investments of over $4 million covering the work on the Vibrancy project and the East End Courtyard elevators. I had the opportunity to present and review this information with our resident finance committee a week or so ago. There were a couple of primary questions that came out of that meeting that I would like to share. The question was, first question, last year's monthly fees went up 2.75%. The 3.5% monthly fee increase for 22 seems a little high by comparison. Why is the higher rate necessary? And as mentioned, the largest cost escalation relates to our wages and personnel costs. Our financial plan anticipates an average annual merit increase of 3%, cost associated with moving Westminster Canterbury's minimum pay rate to $15 an hour, and filling approximately 25 positions that were open most of this most recent fiscal year. The second question that came out of that meeting as a follow-up to the first question is the 3.5% indication or expectation for future years. And folks that I work with, and as we know, each fiscal year stands on its own. Monthly fee increases are based on our internal inflation, and it is hard to forecast our future inflation rates in today's economic climate. There are several indications that the cost of goods will continue to rise during the next couple of years. So the short answer is yes, fee increases could be in the 3.25 to 4% range for the next couple of years. Shifting gears, there was a question from the Resident Finance Committee in regards to who's paying for this Vibrancy project. And as John mentioned, we're in the final stages of planning and development with enabling work of in regards to a couple of the components underway, such as the parking deck. The Vibrancy project is being financed with borrowed capital, along with a current plan equity contribution. Monthly fees are not being impacted for the Vibrancy project financing. I want to thank the management team and all those who assisted with this year's financial planning for fiscal year 22. I appreciate your time this afternoon, and please contact my office with any questions. Up next is Tom Henning to provide an update.
Good afternoon. We got a facilities update for you. I want to talk about the renovations first. The tower and courtyard apartment renovations are underway, and we continue to monitor the noise guidelines and make sure that they happen between 9 a.m. and noon and 2 to 4 p.m. If you hear any loud noises outside of those timeframes, please notify us immediately, as that's not allowed, as we've really tried to make sure they monitor and honor those noise requests. You also notice we've been working with the electrical vehicle charging stations, got all the underground rough-in completed, and are waiting on the units that are, I'm being told, out of production and in shipment. And as soon as we have the tracking number, we'll have a better timing on when those are going to arrive. When they arrive, it won't take long to get them installed and operational, and we'll have more updates on that once that gets in place. Power washing continues in the homes on the green, and the progress will go eventually to the Gardner apartments next week. This is based on weather and site inspection progress, and we'll let you know more specific timing as we begin to arrive in your area for this work. We hope you have a great weekend, and please let us know if you have any questions or issues. And up next is Glendon Kemp with security.
Hello and good afternoon. Before I get into the fraud message that I have for you today, I want you to know that I will be back next week to discuss the details of the Parsons Health Center lot closure that you've all heard about that is going to be starting on Monday, August the 16th. I will be back next week to discuss that in detail. Now I have a fraud topic to discuss with you. This message is directed to all residents of Westminster Canterbury. It has come to our attention that some residents have received notices from SunTrust Bank, that's SunTrust Bank, stating that their accounts have been overdrawn. If you have received a notification like this and you feel that this is an error, please reach out to me as we are conducting an investigation into this matter. That's all I have for you today, a quick notice. My extension is 6079, and up next is Vanessa Perry. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pastoral Care invites you to pray with us on Wednesdays at 12 p.m., worship with us on Thursdays at 10:30 a.m., and this Sunday, residents Jim and Miffy Hall will be leading our 4 p.m. service. Ed Shutt will be the musician, so come out. Please check the Tales newsletter for a complete list of scheduled clergy and musicians. The services will all be in the sanctuary. And I'm taking a reading from the lectionary today. It's Romans 15, 1 through 6. We who are strong ought to bear with the failings of the weak and not to please ourselves. Each of us should please our neighbors for their good, to build them up. For even Christ did not please himself, but as it is written, the insults of those who insult you have fallen on me. For everything that was written in the past was written to teach us, so that through the endurance taught in the scriptures and the encouragement they provide, we might have hope. May the God who gives endurance and encouragement give you the same attitude of mind toward each other through Christ Jesus, that Christ Jesus had, so that with one mind and one voice you may glorify the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. And now I'll read a poem, Dreams of the Future, by Robert Longley. Some are content with memories that play and never change, but others look to the future and try to stretch their range. What things may be possible and tasks as yet not done. What future days are dreamed of underneath the sun. These visions of the future await those who would dream, for thought creates reality. Things aren't just as they seem. The possibilities are endless, the future open wide. Let your imagination wander through the dreams you have inside. That's it for me, and please join us again next Thursday at 3 p.m.